Welcome to Mike Graham's Political Punch-Up. This week, should we just do away with cycle lanes altogether? We've got Cristo on the left, who is always talking about cycling on one of his shows or other, and we've got Dawn Neesom. If she's not cycling, she's talking about cycling. So, we're going to find out, first of all, Cristo, should we just do away with cycle lanes altogether?
In their current form, absolutely yes. I think we need to rip them all out and have a full root and branch review of the way in which they are designed so that they can be put back in certain cases to accommodate, firstly, fully trained cyclists, because I believe that you should have to have a day of compulsory basic training if you're going to cycle on our roads. And secondly, they should be redesigned so that they don't take up an excessive amount of road space in order to create congestion. The current cycle lanes that we have are specifically designed to create congestion by taking as much road space as possible. They're not even designed to work well for cyclists. That's why so many of them don't want to use them. And I actually have a small amount of sympathy for people who aren't morons, who don't want to use those absolutely backward lanes, some of which are contraflow around roundabouts, some of which end to make no sense. So on the places where you need them, redesign them and take them out in the places that you don't, and train cyclists so they are more confident around cars.
And of course, the reason for asking this question is because of the changes to the highway code, which have been talked about all week. Dawn, you're a cyclist, you're a regular cyclist. Do you use cycle lanes?
I do use cycle lanes, yes, and I think getting rid of them would be a step backwards. However, they do need improving. There is no doubt about that. Some of the placement of them and the maintenance of them is completely wrong and does make it more dangerous for cyclists to use. So that is why a lot of cyclists don't use them. However, official statistics show that 141 cyclists were killed in the UK in 2020, with 4,215 injured. Now, these are deaths that needn't happen. And Cristo is going on about training cyclists. Yeah, fine. We need to train drivers to be less arrogant and less aggressive on the roads. Look, there are some arrogant cyclists, I can completely get that, but most people who cycle are very responsible, and I think it is incredibly important for fitness. We have the obesity crisis in this country. I'm not looking at anyone here, obviously. We have an obesity crisis in the country. Cycling is very, very good for you, and it's very good for families to get out, and this is where cycle lanes are very important. Try cycling down a main road with young children on little bikes. It's impossible. Well, getting them out on a cycle lane, shush my bit, getting them out on a cycle lane is much safer, and anything that encourages youngsters to get out and get fit and get off their computers in their bedrooms has to be a good thing.
But isn't the problem, Cristo, that currently the new highway code is actually recommending to cyclists that they don't have to cycle in the cycle lane. So having already narrowed the rest of the space for everybody who's not on a bike, they now want to come back into that space and take up even more of it.
And why on earth then have they butchered all of the roads with these badly designed lanes if they're actually going to say, sorry, you don't need to use them whatsoever? And I'm sorry that, maybe Brenda wants to give cycling a go. I'm sorry that some people want to say, great, we're going to have our two children and we're going to, have them give them a go on a main road and hope for the best. I'm sorry, you are abusing your children if you are allowing them to cycle on main roads. Children, I actually wouldn't mind small children being on the pavement. And this idea, I'm sorry to say, that's absolutely awful, the number of people who are cyclists who have died. But I would like to know the number of them that passed on the inside of HGVs. I would like to know the number of them that went through red lights, because the colour of your jacket seems to be alien to most cyclists, because they think a red light is a suggestion rather than an order. So I'm sorry, I would like to see those statistics broken down before we start making changes to accommodate cyclists, some of whom seem to have a death wish.
And also, Dawn, we've spent hundreds of millions of pounds in this country already, as Cristo says, butchering the roads, putting cycle lanes in, changing the size of the curbs, putting all these different lights in, confusing people, and you want to spend even more money doing it all over again.
Well, I think no, I don't start all over again, but they need improving. One of the problems with cycle lanes, certainly in cities, is that people like Cristo park their big gas-guzzling cars on the cycle lanes. Therefore, cyclists have to swerve round them out into the road.
You're going to park somewhere.
Creating a danger. Well, park in a car park. creating a danger for the cyclists and car drivers. But the main problem I have with this highway code thing coming in and the whole debate about cycling and motoring again is it's incredibly divisive. It creates the division, makes it worse. It makes people like Cristo more angry at me and me more defensive. I'm a very responsible cyclist. I don't jump red lights, Cristo. However, I would argue that, like on the continent, there should be a system introduced where a cyclist can safely turn left at a junction if the light is red and there's no traffic. Now, they do that in the continent. It's very safe, and that would prevent a lot of people getting angry about jumping red lights.
Respectfully.
When you see hold on, shut up. Not respectfully.
Yeah.
When you see a
There's
cyclist,
no respect here in the
no,
punch-up.
when you see a cyclist jumping a red light, it is very often a safe left turn being done. And I must confess, that is, I think, a good system, and we need to consider introducing that in this country.
Well, disrespectfully, it's nice to see that you are firstly defending law breaking there, which is, of course...
I wasn't suggesting...
Yes, you were. Most of the time when
saying,
cyclists go through red lights, they do so when it's safety. When it's safe to do so.
Don't paraphrase me.
Rubbish.
Don't paraphrase me.
And I'm sorry,
I said, no, in the continent, when it is safe to turn left on a red light, that is the law. You're allowed to do that.
It's never safe to go through a red light.
Yes,
never,
it is.
ever safe to go through a red light. You are defending law breaking.
No, I am not.
Secondly,
is it not turning right in the continent, though? Because on the left it would be
but
crossing
you
the
know what I
traffic.
mean. I'm using it for idiots like Cristo who live in this country.
Secondly, it's amazing to me.
Although we could send it back to Greece if we wanted.
Amazing to be racist. It's amazing to me that you think that cyclists are responsible and able enough to be able to tell when to go through a red light safely. However, when it comes to shock horror, needing to overtake something that might be parked on the left, I mean, heaven forbid they might have to look behind them. Heaven forbid they might have to move out into the road. Guess what? You know what? That is being a road user. If you're not confident enough to overtake something that is parked, you shouldn't be out on the road.
Also, isn't it the case, Dawn, that if you want to have better training for drivers so that they're more aware of cyclists,
which I agree with, by the way,
the best thing to do is not to put them into the same road space. And the best thing to do, if you want
Therefore, cycle lanes are a good thing.
Is to keep the cycle lanes as they are. However, what would you say, for example, then, to adding a wrinkle to that, which is to say that all cyclists should also be responsible and they should all be registered and they should also have some kind of license plate recognition so that you know who they are. Because at the moment, every time you say that to any cyclist, they go, oh, but it will stop people from cycling if you do that.
You leave my wrinkles out of it. Any case, no. Up until the 2 years ago... At least I'm no Botox, sweetheart. Any case, up until 2 years ago, I did have a proper road race licence, which meant I was fully insured and I had a licence number, and you could, in theory, check me out, and I was fully covered to be a decent, law-abiding cyclist. Okay,
well, no, you're not.
But because they stopped it all because of the pandemic, which stopped life full stop. However, I do agree that there needs to be some way of registering cyclists. Now, obviously, you can't have a license plate on a bike. It's just not practical.
Why?
So, how? How do you do that on a bike?
You stick one underneath the
That's
saddle.
not going to work.
You stick a little one underneath the saddle, like that size.
Well, no one can see it.
Yeah, you've got cameras. Cameras can see everything.
It could be a barcode. It could be on the back of a tabard that the
QR code.
rider wears.
No, but look, it's not going to work putting license plates on bikes. But there does need to be a regulation.
It's only law-breaking cyclists that would object. I can see why you want to object.
No, but I was registered, and you can register.
Well, I was a cyclist.
Yeah, I used to have insurance on my car.
I don't anymore.
Because of COVID. Don't need it now.
Look, I didn't invent the rules about COVID.
I used to stop at red lights.
Yeah, I don't bother now.
No,
COVID.
Look, registering cyclists, I think there might be a way to move through and do that successfully. However, you can't stick license plates on people's backs or on bikes because it just doesn't work.
When you go hunting, you get a license on your back.
Look, in athletics, if you're a cycling professional, you've got a number on your back. Why can't you wear a tabard on your back with a QR code on or a number so you can be identified by ANPR, by dash cams, anything like that, if you choose to go through a red light? If cyclists are being encouraged to report drivers who drive badly, well, then drivers with their dash cams could do the same with cyclists, and it would instantly stop cyclists riding dangerously. I would also go further and make it illegal to pass an HGV on the left. Putting your life in the hands of an HGV driver who is a fallible human being who might make a mistake is moronic beyond belief.
I completely agree.
Well, tell the cyclists that seem to do it, seemingly want to throw themselves under HGVs.
No, Cristo, that is wrong. Bearing in mind, a lot of people have died under the wheels of HGV.
Well, don't
and I
pass on the
think
left of them.
But a lot of the not necessarily passing on the left.
It's not always the
actually.
fault of the cyclist,
No.
but it is a dangerous
No,
activity.
no,
It's the fault of the
But it is.
HGV driver.
But it is a
but I would
dangerous
never
activity.
Put my
But
life
let
in the
me
hands of an
come back
HGV
to the
driver.
original question.
But by getting on a bike on the road, Cristo, you're not putting your life in the hands of anybody. You are taking responsibility for cycling sensibly, and everybody needs to do that.
The new highway code. You're
Well,
deliberately putting
I
your life
didn't
in
write the
other
new
people's
I
hands.
didn't write the
This
new
is
highway
unbelievable.
code, and
All
nor
right.
did you.
Both of you need to answer the original question. You need to answer it in one sentence only, right? And then I will make an informed and neutral judgment as to which one of you is correct. I don't know why you're laughing, Dawn, as if I'm not in any way independent, which is what I am. Cristo, in one sentence, should we get rid of all cycle lanes?
They should be ripped out, yes, redesigned and put back in sensibly where necessary.
Thank you very much indeed. Dawn, should we get rid of cycle lanes now?
No, of course not. We should improve the ones we have and encourage more youngsters to get out on their bikes to get fit and healthy and stop the obesity crisis.
Yes. See, the problem here is that you both more or less said the same thing. However, I think the ripping out that Cristo wants to see absolutely gets me going. So I would like to see that rather than your kind of redesigning.
Spend more money on ripping them out.
Well,
How
you spend less
insane
money
is
ripping
that?
them out. You spend more money redesigning them.
So
You have
you're
to
just going
hire.
to rip them all
Got
out and
2
put them
billion
back
Could you
in.
both shut up for a minute so that I can give
tell me to shut
I
up.
can give you my
Don't
judgment.
tell her to shut up.
Yes.
Or him.
Yeah.
How dare you?
It's unbelievable.
Cristo, pub.
It's unbelievable. Right, so
We think you've lost.
It's time for
Yeah.
it's time for the judgment.
Independence.
You will hear a bell now. Here's my judgment. I believe that Cristo has won this argument because he is far more sensible and less hysterical than Dawn, who is, of course, a cyclist, so you would expect it. So I'm afraid it's Cristo 1, Dawn 0. That's the political punch-up. Join us next time.